Activision! Stop! I need my money! I need my money! Why do these games keep getting more and more fun? I'm just glad my figure shelf is out of room so I don't have to worry about buying more.
I don't get it. Why can't I stop playing these games? Why are they so much fun? I haven't felt this passionate about a game series in a long time. Not since the Sonic games back on the Genesis and Dreamcast. Trap Team was a game that I got for $30 new because of a sale that was going on at GameStop. So I haven't paid full price for a Skylanders game yet, not until Superchargers, and I went balls deep on that one. I got the Dark Edition as it comes with an extra vehicle and the Chaos Trophy. I can only imagine how the meeting for this game went. A bunch of people sitting around a table on Monday, one of them saw Ghostbusters on TV that weekend, and they thought it would be a great idea to apply for the next game to sell more plastic. You know someone got a fat bonus for that idea. And that's how I think the development history went for this game, since I couldn't find any at all, and it makes sense since the biggest gimmick is trapping villains like Ghostbusters trap ghosts. Trap Team was developed by Toys for Bob, allowing Vicarious Visions time to work on Superchargers. Now, the game looks good graphically, but up close it doesn't look all that natural. They added more detail to the characters, but ended up making them look rather plastic looking. The fur texture is thicker, but it looks fake. Compared to Swap Force, where the fur textures were finer, making it look more organic. It's not bad, it's just a different style. The cutscenes are very well animated, but when the characters are talking to each other in the hub world, they cycle through animations, and it's really obvious this time. The music is still on par with that cartoon fantasy that the game is going for, and the voice acting is still good. Flynn and Chaos are voiced by Patrick Warburton and Stephen Horvitz respectively. A new character is introduced, Buzz, who is pretty much an older version of Flynn, and Mags, who is pretty much a throwaway character. The characters don't really gel together this time around. The chemistry just isn't there, so the overall presentation isn't at par as Swap Force's. Not bad, but it's a step below. The core gameplay is just like the previous titles. You place a figure on a portal and you play as them. They get 3 abilities, a soul gem ability, and they get treasure to pay for upgrades and level up, and the cap is still at 20.
Now the gimmick this time is trapping villains in these little crystal-like things that are $6 each. So if you want to trap every single villain, that's $288. Luckily, these things are reusable and only dependent on elements.
Your main goal is to find and capture all 48 villains. Some you'll come across through regular gameplay, others you'll need to travel off the beaten path to find them, and others you really need to dig deep to find. Now, you don't really need to worry about having a trap for every single villain. You'll only need 11, 8 for the classic elements, 2 for the new dark and light ones, and 1 for chaos. When you're in the hub world, you're able to go to the prison in the center and look at all your captured villains, and you'll be able to put them in traps, swapping out villains easily. The only reason why you would want a trap for each villain is because of villain-specific missions. This way you don't need to leave the area, swap out the villain, and go back. And the other reason is because trap villains will give you power-ups and superchargers. And if you don't have a trap ready, you can press the cancel button and the villain will be transported to jail, so you can put them in a trap later. To play as a villain, all you need to do is have a trap loaded into the portal and press the tag button, swapping the villain out for the Skylander. The villain has a time limit. Walking around, attacking, or taking damage will cause the timer to speed up. Once the time is up, the villain is swapped out for the Skylander. You're able to complete villain-only side missions, which allows you to redeem them and thereby upgrading them. The other new mechanic is the Trapmaster Skylanders. Skylanders that wield weapons made of Traptanium. When facing a villain, the Trapmaster's weapons will glow and do extra damage. Their weapons will also glow around Traptanium clusters, which you can destroy for extra rewards. Also, Trapmasters are the only Skylanders that can open the elemental gates, meaning that if you only bought the starter kit and no others, you're only going to be able to get into the water gates. I thought this was a pretty scumbag thing to do on the developer's part, but it was probably a decision from the publisher. But hey, they gotta push the toys somehow. I don't agree with it, I can understand it, but I don't agree with it. Granted, I still got into most of the gates because I'm only missing an air and fire Trapmaster, but I still think that there should have been some older toy utility because I really didn't use many of the older ones. Even the new core Skylanders are rather pointless as I only bought one, and like all Skylanders games, certain areas have spots where a Skylander of that element is stronger, but it seems like I use Tough Luck, a life Skylander, the most, followed by Gear Shift and then Enigma, then Lobstar. I felt rather gypped that I didn't get to use Crypt King as much as I did since I went really out of my way to get him, and I only used the new Dark and Light Skylanders to open up the 2 or 3 gates of those elements, as there was no places where they were stronger outside of those places. There weren't that many places where certain Skylanders were stronger or the game would glitch, as I could be in one area where life is strong, go into a tech gate, go back to where life was stronger but it wouldn't trigger. When it comes to story, it's pretty well written. This time Chaos has a plan to break the Doom Raiders, a group of 8 bad guys, from Cloudcracker Prison, which is made of Traptanium. Even though he frees them, they quickly betray him.
I've played 4 of these games so far, and I'm starting to think that Chaos is a little incompetent.
So you pretty much have Chaos as a story-based ally, until the end where he's the final boss yet again, and I'll tell you something. This final boss is really challenging compared to the rest of the game. He's not as hard as Spyro's Adventure's final boss, but he's still hard. Almost all of my Skylanders were knocked out. I had to beat him with villains, and I only had 3 traps at the time as I was trying to get more Trap Masters, but I'm investing in more traps in preparation for Superchargers. Trap Team is a good game, but it's rather weak. It does not feel like an expansion for Swap Force, much like how Giants felt like an expansion to Spyro's Adventure, but I really did enjoy playing as the Trap Masters. In fact, Tough Luck is my Trap Master of choice because she's such a fast attacker and her moves can be comboed together if you know how to time it properly. And that's how some of these Trap Masters feel. Even some of the new core Skylanders like Blades had some extra attacks, like a mid-air one. I do wish that I could have gotten some use out of my older figures though, but the game actively encourages to nearly downright forcing you to use Trap Masters and villains only. There also needed to be more light and dark Skylander usage as they were non-existent in this game, and there were hardly any places for fire-based Skylanders for that matter, unless the game is secretly keeping track of what toys you put on the portal most, and therefore adjusting to certain types to give a boost in attack power. Did I enjoy my 4th tour of duty of Skylands though? I would say that I was 80% satisfied with what I got. I really did enjoy Chaos. I think this was his finest role in the series. He's extremely funny and I love how he addresses the player just before the final encounter, much like how his mother did in Swap Force. I do think Swap Force is the best game to get started with though. It's been the most fun and I'm really looking forward to Superchargers and the new vehicle gameplay, as I've seen some videos of it in action and it looks really fun.
If Swap Force was the best of the series, then Trap Team is second best, but we're going to see if that's going to change the week after next when we take out Skylanders Superchargers.